Hello!
Welcome back to the HNU podcast with your host Himalay.
And Urvashi.
If you can, please like, subscribe, and
Share if you like
it. What a week!
What a week. What's been going on with you this week?
Well, it's a Sunday right now. So I'll say rest day, but I did play some football. That's always good.
Yeah.
I never used to like playing football. I don't know what it was, even at school days. Sometimes it was fun, but I only did it because everyone else was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, like I just went, fuck it, let me play some more football. And I'm starting to enjoy it now.
That's
I think
good.
it's because I'm actually good at it now. Well, I was fucking shit. Well, I wasn't shit, I was alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, the more you experience things, the more you discover what you enjoy.
Didn't have to make it that deep.
Sometimes it's nice to revisit things.
I just went to play football. What did you do this week?
Fair. It was a chilled week. I loved this week because I'm off of work for 2 weeks. So.
What, 2 weeks? No,
I was. So this was my second week off. So I start tomorrow. But I'm excited to go back.
Do you know what? That's one thing I miss about school days and that.
Having like holidays.
Yeah, man. I can't remember the last time. Well, obviously I do. School days, the last summer holidays. What was it? 8 weeks off. Wild.
Yeah.
I always used to get told, "Yo, appreciate those times." That last one, anyway. I used to go out every single day because the sun was always beaming. Always got something to do on every day.
Yeah. That's good. I remember my last summer in the NCS. But then again, I had summer in college and uni as well. So.
Yeah.
But it was more like a summer full of activities was NCS. But yeah, I remember you telling me that you didn't do NCS, but you did NCS.
I didn't do it, but I did do it.
Yeah.
See, I'd got the paperwork and everything. I was gonna send it off, but then I didn't. However, most of that summer, me and my friend would go to the gym, and then after the gym, we'd meet up with one of our friends who was doing NCS. And somehow, majority of the people that we knew were in the same group anyway.
Oh, okay.
So
that ended up working out for you.
Yeah, and then like it was that week where, because obviously how it works is like 1 week you go off to campus and you stay there, and the next week you do like charity work. And then the week after, I think the last one is where you start doing parties or making parties and stuff. Yeah. I think it was the week where they were back home and they were doing charity work. Anyways, we went to one of the group meeting sessions, but we didn't talk obviously because they're doing everything. Yeah. So technically we did it. Technically,
just without the official document.
Yeah. We helped a little. We gave some flyers out.
You made some money for charity as well, by like helping them.
Yeah.
Contribute to it.
I don't know if money went or anything. I don't know about all that though. But I did help with the flyers a bit.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, NCS is National Citizen Service, and it's basically like for kids that have just finished secondary school. And it's like a 4-week activity thing, and it's really good. Like, you end up donating to charity and raising money for charities and just making friends along the way, and it's pretty cool.
New friends, new experiences, all of that.
Yeah, because it's not for, like, a specific school or, like, an area. Or maybe it is for an area.
No, but I think it's majority of places.
Yeah.
In the UK. I don't know if it is out there in the US. They might have something bigger, though.
That'll probably be different, yeah. But, yeah, that's what it is. What's one thing you do to make yourself feel better when you're feeling low? I said that in a very interview voice.
I like to get myself out of that mindset, or like the environment that I'm in when I'm thinking whatever it is, to make me feel unwell or uneasy. Yeah. I've said this before, I think.
Yeah, just like when you are in that state of mind, you want to get out, do something, go for a run, like clear your mind.
Yeah, it really does help getting yourself out of the physical whatever you're doing. Let's say you're sitting down on your bed and you start overthinking everything, and you go down that rabbit hole of just telling yourself these things that are not true. The best thing to do, or the thing I like to do anyway, if that really helps me is just get out of this environment. So even just going downstairs, or like, it could be like as dramatic as you sitting down, all of a sudden just get up, start doing push-ups. Like randomly, trust me, it does work. Just getting yourself out of that, I don't know, the headspace by doing that. What made you want to say that? What made you want to?
Because I feel like I knew your answer, but I don't think you know mine. So for me, whenever I get like that, or like I feel low, or I feel like things aren't going right, or whatever it is, I always have this mindset where your day can always turn around. Even if you have a feeling it won't, you know, you can always tell yourself like, oh, well, this is just one thing. You still have the rest of the day left, you know?
Yeah.
You still have the rest of the week left, the rest of the month left. There's so much, like, we have time, even though we may not think we have time, and not to dwell on the things that realistically won't matter in, say, 5 years. Right? Like, I remember hearing somebody say they had this thing where they would stop themselves from worrying about little things by thinking, will I be worrying about this in 5 years? Yes or no?
Right.
If the answer is yes, then maybe they'll, you know, go more in depth. But most of the time it's going to be no, because it's about silly little things that you're just getting overworked about. But personally, I like to switch it around and turn into my spiritual side. So I know how you said you change your physical in terms of like you change your environment. I go more like spiritual. I look within and I gain inspiration from feeling low. So I tell myself like, oh, okay, well, yeah, so and so has happened, whatever, but look at the bright side, you know?
Yeah.
And I like to see the best in people, and I do the same with myself. I can't like there's no like, I can't like, you know, give myself the injustice of not doing that. And so if I am feeling low or whatever, I'll be like, okay, that's fine. What am I going to do to change this? Right? And also, like, look at where I am. Like, just turning to gratitude, it helps a lot to lift my mood, to be like, okay, yeah, I'm in a shitty mood, or I'm not feeling very well right now. And instead of just dwelling on it and constantly complaining about it and nagging the people I live with, let me deal with it, like, take medicine, whatever. So that's, like, step one, whatever.
Medicine?
And then, yeah, like, if I'm feeling unwell, as in, like, if I'm ill.
Oh, like, yeah,
Ill,
like you got a flu or something.
This is an example. Like, if I'm
Okay.
ill, because, you know, I'm very vocal about when I'm feeling things. Like, if I have cramps, I'll be like, I have the worst cramps right now.
Right.
Because that's my way of basically alerting everyone that if I'm gonna, like, snap and be a bitch right now, it's because I'm not feeling very well.
So being a crybaby, yeah.
It's like, I want to be able to communicate that, and I'm very glad that I live with people where, even if I am nagging everybody about it, you'd take that and you'd be like, all right, we know. You know, you wouldn't, like, react in a way that would make me be like, I'm never going to tell you guys again.
Right.
So, yeah. So I turn into like, appreciation mode. Appreciate
I guess
what
you
I
could
have.
do both, because, like, the getting out of the physical, because I do what you're saying, but mine is more, I need to get myself out of this headspace right now, or I'm going to be in it for good whole half the day.
Okay.
Because if I don't get it out now, then I won't be able to. But then once I have got myself out of that situation, then I'm like, well, that's just how I felt today. And it's okay to feel what I felt, you know, whatever, and then run down on the scenarios of why I felt like that and see how I can go from there.
Yeah.
See, that there's feelings of the just not feeling up to doing anything and everything. That's never going to go away.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest problem people do is think that, how do I get rid of this?
It's not a matter of getting rid of it, though, is
No.
it? It's a matter of being able to live with it and getting past it in a
Just
way.
being able to deal with it.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it, really. But yeah, and you were right, it is okay to have them days where you are feeling like that. It's not like constantly you have to stop yourself or feel like you have to be thinking about other things. Sometimes you have to give yourself that good 10 minutes to cry about it or feel sorry for yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Just to get, like, your emotions out. It shouldn't all be, like, bottled up. Because if you feel like you're trying to do all these different things and it's still not working, you maybe need to have a release in one way or another.
Yeah, it's also like, when you do feel overwhelmed about everything that's going on, it's only because you're throwing everything, like, I use this analogy a lot, throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. that's not how it should be. You should. I mean, even though that does happen, it's more of a case of just understanding you can't deal with everything at once. Deal with one thing and then the next and then the next.
100%. I mean, I like that when I'm talking to you about something, you always revert to like, well, that's a good problem you have, or like how do you solve this then if it isn't a very good problem to have, you know? Because it does put things in perspective. Like, geez, I'm worrying about this, but Hims is right. It's a good problem to have, you know?
It is.
It's good. Not like, it's not something I should be stressing over. I should just be patient and, you know, deal with it.
Yeah, no, I've been doing that a lot as well with just like everyone. It is just to acknowledge that is a good problem to have. Because your problems, just problems in general, they're not going to go away. But you can actually put them into categories of what problems are good and what's bad. And it does make you feel a little better.
Yeah.
Oh, they're actually good problems to have. Well, what am I wearing tomorrow? I'm sorry, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah. No, it is.
What breakfast are going to have? Cheerios or Weetabix? Good problem to have. I'm sorry.
It is.
Am I going to be able
options.
Am I going to be able to pay this bill off? That's
not so
that's not a good problem.
No.
That's a bad problem.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Once you're able to like acknowledge what's good and what's bad, it does help you. These little things.
Do you think it helps seeing it as like if it's easier to like solve, or do you think it's more like no, it is like, because saying it's good or bad, when you get it, but when you don't, it's more like, what is it, the things that are easier to solve, or is it just things that are like you don't really acknowledge it's a problem, you just see it as something you have to deal with? Because I used to think of it like that. Like, I wouldn't see the things, for example, what we were talking about on that day when you were telling me that's a good problem to have, I was like, I didn't see it like that. And I told you that, like, for me, I didn't see it as a problem at all. I just saw it as like, oh, this is something I'm dealing with, because I didn't acknowledge that it was a problem at all. But when you put it in perspective as a good problem, it does make you think, oh, I'm grateful for that. Like, you know, it could be a huge problem, but it's not. Or a bad problem, but it's a good problem, so.
So you're saying that you didn't see it as a problem at all. You just said, oh, I've just got something to deal with.
Yeah. Like, this is something I want to do, so this is how I'm going to do it, kind of thing.
Or something I've got to solve.
Yeah.
But if I'm saying solve, that should make you aware that is a problem then. Because any problem that you have is something... that's what a problem is. Problem is something you want to solve. You know?
It was more like a question that needed to be answered, you know, what I was saying. It was like, because I wanted some advice on something. And then I'm going to take on your advice, by the way, when I can. And yeah, that's how I want to start it. By the way, the conversation we were having was about savings and like how I want to save and, you know, like a method of doing that. And so I was just like asking for advice on like, I want to reach this specific goal. Like, what's the best way to do it, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. And so it just gave me more options. And I feel like that's the thing. When you have a lot of options, that makes it easier.
Do you think that? Because you've got more options. But in one of the books I read, it is a lot harder to be able to make decisions if there's too many decisions to make for the one thing.
Yeah.
You're better off having one or two options than... in some scenarios... than it is having loads of options, because then you're like, I mean, and that is a good problem to have as well. Like, having too many options is a great problem to have, because regardless, you're going to choose one thing.
Yeah.
It's just a little harder to choose.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had one or two, you'd be like, I'm gonna go for that one.
Yeah, it's true.
But carry on what you were saying. Like, it is.
It's better. It's better having multiple options than it is to have none. Because when you feel like you have no options, you kind of feel like you've been cut short in it. Like, like, what do I do now? But yeah. So I think my question was, because I started over explaining it, which is another thing I do. I've realised I over explain, and also when I say a story is going to be short, it's not going to be short. Like, I'll finish the story in 2 minutes.
But
20 minutes later.
That's just who you are. Even talking. As like, it's the little things like, oh, I'll be up in a minute. Just, you're not up in a minute. You're up in 20 minutes.
This is very true.
Maybe even 30.
Or I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a little nap, wake me up at this time, you'll come in, and I'll be like, no. I say you, but like more mom.
No, I was going to say,
it's mom that comes and she's like, you know. Yeah, because if I had asked you, you would do everything to make sure I got up at that time.
I'd wake you up 5 minutes before you told me to wake you up.
You'd open the blinds, you'd open the window.
But isn't that what you want?
No,
to wake
of
up.
course not. These are multiple problems to wake up to.
To wake up, yeah. Let's see.
Good problems I can solve easily, but still.
Hey man, you want to get woken up? I'm waking you up. That's the end line.
End goal. Nah, fair enough. But no, like if I ask mum to come in, then I'll be like, oh mum, give me 5 more minutes, please.
Yeah, it doesn't happen with me.
Yeah, you won't give me the chance.
Extra 5 minutes. I'll give you less than 5 extra. I'll give you 5 minutes minus.
Yeah, 5 minutes earlier.
That's what I was trying to say.
You makes it like a boot camp, like it's proper important for me to wake up.
You asked me to wake you up. I mean, that's what it is, no? If someone ever asked you, oh, can you wake me up at this time? You better know I'm being serious about it. I'll wake you up at that time. I'd be pissed if I told someone to wake me up at a certain time and they didn't wake me up.
No, but what if they tried and you're the one that was like, oh, give me 2 more minutes or like 5 more minutes?
Then I'd ask him.
I'm getting better.
I guess I'd ask him beforehand, like, do you actually want to be waking up at this time? Like, because if you are, I'm gonna wake you up in a way that I would want to be woken up. Because if I'm telling someone to wake me up, it's probably because I need you to do it. Yeah. There's so many times that I was supposed to get to somewhere.
Yeah.
But mind you, the night before, it's like I've had a drunken night. I've come over like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I need to wake up.
Yeah.
And I'm not. That panic, that rush, the anxiety that I get if I'm not at a certain place at a certain time that I'm supposed to be at, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So I'd rather get someone to wake me up and be like, yo, I need you to wake me up. Like, even if it means throwing water on my face, and that's not the first option. You need to wake me up first and be like, oh, you need to wake up. If I'm not waking up, then you use the water. Don't throw it at my face. I'll be pissed. I'll be so pissed. I'm like, why did you do that?
Why did you do that first as well?
No, just wake me up. Even slap me in the face, maybe. That's a cold word. Yeah.
That's jokes. You're going to give someone permission to drop water in your face.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man, to wake you up. Luckily, I'm not like a heavy sleeper. It's not that hard to...
Yeah. There's been times where I've come upstairs to like get the printer or something. To be fair, I'm very quiet. If I know you're sleeping, I won't make noise on purpose.
But sometimes I've just closed my eyes.
But there's also like you listen to podcasts, like you said, or you have something on in the background, like playing. So that, because it's so close to you, it's like that's kind of what you're hearing more than anything else.
I'll be honest with you. I've heard you many times come upstairs and take the printer. Even
I've
if I'm
only
laying
come,
there.
Twice.
Even if I'm... Okay, then both times then I've heard you. But I'm just like... What's the point of me just looking up and going, what are you doing? Like, well, what? Let me close my eyes and you can just ignore it.
Yeah, because I'll be gone in like 2 seconds anyways. But yeah, I always make sure if I'm coming up to get something, I'll just take it and then I'll come back tomorrow morning when you're already up and gone to put it back. Because I don't like disturbing you multiple times. So.
If you've... my motto with that stuff, if you're going to take something, make sure you put it back where you got it from.
Yeah, but I do. But I just wait until it's not inconvenient for you to do so. Like, I know you don't really care about this, but we've spoken about this kind of like where I wouldn't want to do something that affects you in a negative way. But it's not just you. That's like with everybody. So if that means like being hella quiet, like sneaking around trying to do something to make sure I don't make noise, then that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Well, okay, I said I'm a light sleeper, but I'm not that much of a light sleeper.
Yeah.
Like if it was like let's say you did something like this.
That you're gonna hear.
Oh, actually, no, I'll hear that.
The vibrations is gonna wake you up, brother. That bloody fly. I always used to think mini flies bite. Turns out they're just fruit flies. I still don't like them. Get it away.
Why are they called fruit flies?
I don't know. They like fruit. Why is it?
They like fruit. I guess that's actually.
Why is it gone?
It's gone.
I hope so.
I don't know why you're so squealish about stuff like that.
You don't like. That was so gross.
Do you see the comparison? Look how stressed she is about it.
I don't like it. I don't like insects.
My one is do you know if it's a wasp? I used to get really like scared of that.
Yeah.
Once the worst experience I had, I was a fat shit younger. I was eating my burger, going into the house, and this massive wasp comes by, and I, for some reason, like, I had a mouthful of like a burger, you know, but just bitten into it. I went, I was throwing my shit about. That was probably the worst one.
What? A wasp came into the house?
No,
Or...
I was outside. I was just about to go inside the house, and I was eating my burger because I couldn't wait.
Oh, God. Oh, it's the paranoia afterwards, though, isn't it? Like,
Well, it was then, and now I'm just like, we're all a part of, we're all on the same planet now. I don't know, I'm like a fucking tree hugger, one of them ones. Come on, man, just chill out. I think if they get into my way, and when I say they, I mean insects and stuff, when they get in my way, then I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, I gotta do what I gotta do, yeah.
One of them ones. But if it's...
minding its own business, and you're minding your own business. Yeah.
Like, I've got this weird telepathic agreement with a spider in the garage. Same spider, I think anyway. It's like in between little gutters where the garage is. And during the time I go work out after work, I look up and he's just coming out. Or she's just coming out. And I look, and it'd feel like we're both looking at each other. Not acknowledge... and just continue.
Oh my God.
That's it. Do you set goals with a time limit?
I do. Mine's more like spontaneous. I want to do this by this date, or I want to. Oh, it would be like a rough time limit. It'd be like, oh, by mid next month, you know.
Right.
I'd be like, I want to do this by next month, or, but they like the next part of the question is, but are they realistic? Like the time goals you set. Is it a realistic time you could achieve that goal by? And I feel like sometimes I'm very ambitious and I'm like, like to start off with, yes. But then obviously things do get in the way. Like, if, for example, if you're trying to set a goal for, like, financially, you want to achieve this much, you then kind of think, okay, well, this is the income for this day, this is the income for this day. But then your brain kind of tricks you into thinking, oh, there won't be no outgoing, like, you won't be paying for things,
okay.
like... But you are paying for things. Like, the realistic part is you're going to end up paying for something.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But with the whole saving thing, you have to be strict, like how you'd have to be strict to work out. If you've said you're going to do something, like, for example, working out or saving, you have to put the discipline into it. The discipline is the more important thing. Mm-hmm. That goal that you have is a goal for a reason. Mm-hmm. So you got to put it past your that what's the word the word's gone, damn it. Just like stop being childish about it and be like, okay, cool, that's the goal, I want to get that done.
Mm-hmm. And then work towards it and be disciplined while doing so. Yeah. I mean, I do set realistic goals, but I think sometimes I do. That's why they're varied. Like, it'll be like mid-month, not just by a specific date. Because then I wouldn't want to disappoint myself by saying, on this date I was supposed to have this much, this was my goal. Because then I'd just be like, okay, by like the second week or the third week. Because then I have that whole week to do something about it if I did end up paying money for something, But yeah, and like same with like career goals, like by next year I want to be doing this, or like whether it's what you're doing or how you're going to be doing something, or even little things like how you're going to adapt your research or do your business plan, like things like that. I do tend to like tell myself, okay, maybe in this moment in time I can't be doing that, right, for whatever reason, but at some point within the next 2 to 3 months I want to be working on this. I want to be making sure that's more higher on my priority list.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean with the whole being realistic about it, and not getting your hopes high or like getting upset if it doesn't go down. But isn't that you like slightly doubting that it could actually go down like that?
I think it's more like if you tell yourself, if you actually look at what you're dealing with right now, right, in terms of like, what have you got going on, what time, like how much time in the day are you able to spend on this? Is it realistic enough to be, in the long run, will it help? And if you think of it like that, even like 5 minutes or 10 minutes towards something could make a big difference in 50 days. That's like, you know, 50 minutes. And so it's like trying to fit things into your day is sometimes a better way. Like you said, trying to do things in a way where it doesn't seem like much, but it'll add up eventually. That is an option, you know?
Yeah.
It's not, you can't just completely rule it out. Because I feel like I'm the type of person where I'm like, I've got this going on right now. As soon as I've done with this, then I'll be on to the next thing. And I'll be doing this. I'll be focusing on this.
I get what you mean. What I was saying is, let's say you want to be realistic with it. Let's say you have a goal to save this much amount of money, and you gave a specific date. You don't want to give a specific date because you worry that you might not get it on that time, and then you'll feel upset about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to say is, with you even in the beginning saying, oh, if it doesn't work out, then I'll be upset, is basically saying you doubt that you will be able to. So it might not be the case, and you might, you know, and you're being realistic about it, which is good. But going back to all that manifestation stuff, they say when you write down a goal and you have a specific date on it, oh, I'm happy and grateful I've got £10,000 by 25th of January 2023. What they say is, if you can imagine it and you keep reminding yourself every day, eventually somehow your mind, how your day goes throughout, you know, when you go through your day, there'll be little things that pop up during your day, and you have to be aware of it, that will allow you to actually make that goal happen. Just random things, like you might see a flyer about, I don't know, 10 ways to become rich, or, you know, you just keep going through your day. There'll be something that'll pop up in your peripherals that you'll just go for. When you do it like that, that doubt in your mind that that's not going to happen doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, because you've like put it down, like put pen to paper and just, you know.
Then you have to be realistic with it. Like, there's no way, well, not no way, but you're not going to get £1 million tomorrow. The only way I see that happen is if you win the lottery.
Yeah.
But you can say, I want £1 million by the end of the year. That's a doable thing. It actually is. But you have to be willing to
put in the time,
time and effort and the work to actually get that rolling.
Yeah.
Some people do it within 4 or 5 months.
Jeez.
6. I'll say, be more realistic. 6 months.
Yeah.
To make $1 million. You think £1 million is a lot of money, but it really isn't in terms of business and making things move in a timely manner. Yeah. So that's what I mean with the whole being realistic. However, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, preparing yourself in case it doesn't go right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I always set like goals where it's like, I don't ever want to disappoint myself in a way where it would make me see myself in a different light, where I'm doing something that makes me feel like I'm not myself anymore.
Yeah.
Or I start to say things that are not going to happen, you know? Which is why I feel like I'm growing in terms of, as a person, being able to reel myself back a bit, hold things in a little more, you know, until it is 100% confirmed. And then I'm like, now is your time to shine, you know? That's when I want to do the whole, this is happening.
Silent moves. They're the best way to do it.
Yeah.
No, not everyone needs to know your business.
It's true.
And some people's opinion just doesn't need to be heard. Because you already know it. And you can't have that around you.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got like big goals and big dreams. You really can't be telling everyone about it.
Yeah.
I know you get excited, I do as well, saying it in the moment, oh yeah, I'm doing this, and you get this little bit of a pleasure of saying it, but they're just tiny increments of it, you know, that you're choosing over the bigger picture of when you actually done it and you're doing it, and then you could be like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. They'll be like, what? Since when? How did you? Yeah.
It's been like been in the works for months, mate.
You don't have to say that. I've just been doing this.
Yeah. It's
Just
been
what I
something that
wanted
I've
to
been
do.
focusing on, yeah.
Yeah. No one likes braggers.
Yeah.
No one.
It's true.
Question of the day. What would you write about if you were not afraid? I'm hungry.
I don't know if the mic picked up on that, but I am hungry. What would I write about if I'm not if I'm not afraid?
What would you write about if you weren't afraid?
If I weren't afraid. I don't know. Maybe things that I might be afraid to think about, or like to actually advance further in. Like things I could potentially explore, but just don't want to because I want to be focused on whatever I'm focused on, you know?
That sounds like an answer, like you don't want to answer the question. That's basically what you've done there.
I don't know, like...
What would you want to write down if you weren't afraid? Let's say all of these insecurities, your way of thinking about doing something, but then there's so many other things that come into play where you're like, oh, because of that I can't do it, because of that I can't do it, because of that I can't do it. Let's say you didn't have any of that, you weren't afraid of any of those things. What would you write?
I mean, I have heard the phrase, like, write like nobody's going to read it. And that does help you, like, eliminate your fears and stuff. I feel like I would write about maybe times where I've been hurt in my life. And then, like, without, like, having the pressure of, what if this person reads it? How would that make them feel? Because they are in it. Or, like,
Okay.
you know, whatever. Something like that. I don't know. Something I wouldn't normally do. Like, I wouldn't do that because there's so many things, like, so many obstacles. Like, or, like, telling stories.
Okay.
Saying my wildest dreams. Things like that.
All right.
That's why I give a vague answer because I like, you know. Yeah.
Well, you did answer the question. You'd write about someone because because you wouldn't be afraid that they would read whatever it is.
I'd never want to hurt anyone's feelings. So anything that would be stopping me from hurting their feelings, like then I wouldn't. You know, like what's stopping me? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's where I feel like some of the best writing is done through vulnerability, is like not giving a fuck about what anybody says or like, you know, who reads it or anything like that. Just being as true to yourself as possible and completely unfiltered.
Yeah. You don't have to write it down. That's kind of like life.
Yeah.
Where you can be unapologetically yourself.
In any craft.
And you don't care about what the people think. Because their opinion of you is not the thing that matters the most.
100%.
What would I write about if I wasn't afraid? What would I write about if I wasn't afraid? I don't know. I don't know what I'd write down. I'd always write. Do you know why I can't answer the question? Because I'll write anything and everything without being afraid. That's
good. That's a good way of living. Because I feel like I restrict myself sometimes.
Right.
Like, I would be like, I don't want to remember. Or even if things I do want to remember, I won't write them down. Sometimes I'll just be like, you know what, I'll keep that to myself for, like, my memories. I won't write it down on paper.
But that's not got anything to do with you with being fearful. That's just you saving.
It's like a preference. Yeah. I think I've always been that way. I'd prefer to save it and hold it for myself and see what I actually can remember without having to read about it.
Right.
But there are times where, like, for example, my diary, I love to read about what was going on in my life on that day at that time. Like, what like, because I like to do a mass update in my diary. And so when I go back and read it, like, the first entry was in, like, 2015 and, like, I was so young. So it's, like, getting to see how much I've grown throughout the years.
Right.
And how every time I write in my diary, I've always had this feeling of, like, something huge has happened or massive things have happened so far. And it's been ages since I've written in my diary, like, months and months and months. And now I want a mass update. And I want to write about it. And I'm so inspired. And I'm so, like, even if I'm tired and I feel this, like, light where I'm like, I really, really want to do it. I will do it. I'll write in my diary and pages and pages and pages and pages.
Right.
And then I'll go back, and when I am going back and reading them, I feel the same inspiration of like every single time I've written in this diary, even if it's been times where I've been crying or I'm unsure, and I've put that into there. It's very like there's a lot of passion that goes into it.
Yeah.
So when I'm reading it, the feelings come back. It's like, oh, I remember what I was feeling when I wrote this. So yeah, I think I kind of already just put everything into my diary anyways, in terms of like what I really, really want down on paper. And I'm not secretive about my diary. I'm not like, I don't hide it. It is where it is. And the people that know about it know about it. And so I don't care who reads my diary, because it is very much how I am in person. It's literally just me.
Unless you've written something about someone that you don't want them to read, then you would be afraid.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what I don't do. I don't hurt people's feelings with my words, whether it's like, I try my best, obviously talking. Sometimes you do slip up and you hurt people unintentionally or intentionally. Most of the time it's obviously unintentionally. But yeah, with my words, I'm very careful, especially when I'm writing. Like, I won't write things that I'll think are, for example, not safe for work. That's what came into my mind. Like, you know how people have a not safe for work diary?
No.
Well, apparently they do. It's a thing. But yeah, I don't have that, because I just prefer not to write about things like that.
Yeah.
If I'm saying something, like, or not saying something, if I'm writing something because I think and I write exactly what I'm thinking at that moment, because I'll be writing it and I'll be like, right, okay, sup guys, like, and that's what I'll write, like, whatever's in my mind is like, hey guys, been a long time.
I
like,
write or I type like as if I'm speaking.
Yeah, same. So sometimes it's pages and pages of just blabber, because I blabber a lot. Like, I'll be waffling, and my freaking diary's full of nonsense, but it's my nonsense, so I care about it and I love it, so I don't care.
And the whole reason for you to write shit down is because you want to get it off of it. No, not even though I mean it do much. You need to get it out of somehow of your system. So that's how I think of it anyway. Just getting out of your system, because once it's done, it's done. It's out of it.
I see it more of like, all that I'm writing means so much to me.
Thank you for listening, guys. We hope you like, subscribe, and share
if you like it.
If you like it.
And turn on the post notifications.
Yes.
See you next week.
Peace.
Bye.